Episode 72 of the Most Unwanted and X-Files podcast with me, Luke Costin, and my host across the desk.
Pleasure to be here.
Daniel Checkley. Daniel, have you been?
Yeah, not too bad, mate, not too bad.
Right. Gearing up, I guess, for the wedding now, isn't it?
Well, it's just around the corner.
Yeah.
In fact, we might as well get some little bit of housekeeping out the way first.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not a bad idea, actually.
As I'm sure our listeners, our lovely listeners, will forgive us for, we are going to take a few weeks break after this episode. Is it echoey in here?
It's a bit echoey in here, yeah. But
it is a bit echoey. Yeah. We apologise for the echoiness. We are going to take a few weeks break after this because I am getting married.
Yeah.
And it's tough.
Selfish bastard.
It's tough to ask to get time away straight after the wedding. Yeah. We've got all the planning to do first. And
the thing is, though, like, it's not even just the recording sessions. You need to make sure you've got enough time to watch the episodes and take notes from.
Yeah.
I've got the editing as well. It's just difficult to do. It's not going to be.
Yeah. So we're going to take some time after. I mean, we're both doing it. You've got the best man stuff to do as well. So we're going to take a few weeks off. So I hope you forgive us for that. Yeah. But yeah, we will be back after a couple of weeks.
I think our first day back recording should be on the 30th of October, so basically the week after that we should be back.
Yeah. Sound. So yeah, forgive us for that, but yeah, it's just gearing up for the wedding now. I'm nervous. Like I wasn't feeling any nerves for like the last 2 years leading up to it. But then as soon as I had like a work stag do type thing, I've realised we keep on calling it stag do. It's not called a stag do in America, is it? It's a bachelor
party, isn't it?
Yeah. But yeah, anyway, I had my work one last week, and once that was over and I had nothing else to look forward to but the wedding, I started getting butterflies on my stomach, and it all suddenly hit me that, oh my god, this is actually happening. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So yeah, nervous but very excited.
It's the best way to be about it, I suppose. And like I said, there's nothing to be too worried about, I guess, because at the end of the day, it's just us. If you do something embarrassing, it's not like we're not going to let you live it down.
I know. Oh god, you make me feel even nervous. I'm just dreading my speech, and it's mad when you think I record a podcast every week to go out into the world,
and your career is selling to people.
Yeah, and you put me in a pub and put a crowd of 20 people around me and tell me to tell us a funny story. And I'm in my element. I love it. I love the attention. Put me on a stage. Oh god, I'm dreading it. I'm absolutely dreading it. But yeah, I mean, apart from that, it feels like everything's surrounding that wedding at the moment, and it's hard to get away from it. I feel a bit self-obsessed right now, but if you can't do it around your wedding, when can you?
I was going to say, yeah. I mean, it's the moment to do it, isn't it? Mm-hmm. It's weird, like stage like nerves and stuff. Like, I don't tend to get nervous about presenting or anything like that. The only time I ever get nervous is if I'm doing something without a plan. You know? If I don't have a plan in my head, I'm like, I brick it. Like, I'm proper like nervous about stuff. But if I've got a plan to do something, I know all else fails. If I like sort of go off track, I can always just go back to my plan. You know what I mean? Like, and then the worst case is you can just finish what you planned. But
yeah.
That's my tip to trying to stay nervous.
Maybe I just need to write out my speech fully. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I'm half tempted just to go and wing it. But
no,
that's probably not a good idea, is it?
Do not do that, because you know as soon as you get up there, it'll go all from your head, and you're like, so true.
I mean, I don't know. Winging it seems to work for these episodes.
Yeah, but I can edit it to sound okay.
To make me sound good. Yeah, that's a good point. Maybe I need to pre-record. Maybe I should just do my wedding speech on this show, and then we just play it.
Yeah.
That'd be good.
We'll just play it, yeah.
A live version. I like it.
I wonder if anyone's ever done that, like just recorded their speech or something like that, not done anything live.
I wonder. Yeah, I mean, I reckon it's been done somewhere along the line, hasn't it?
Yeah, I don't know. Talking of things that we don't want to lose and get lost in the hidden mists of time.
Yeah.
I think we should talk about this episode of The X-Files, Apocrypha.
I definitely think we should, because I have been so looking forward to carry on this two-parter.
Did you get my little thing there?
No, I don't know what Apocrypha means.
We'll get to it.
Oh, we will.
No!
As I quickly search what it means. On with the show.
So as I mentioned, this is episode 16 of season 3 of X-Files, entitled Apocrypha. I can see you tapping away in the background.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Apocrypha is.
I haven't had a chance because you started the podcast so earlier, but I'm pretty sure like Apocrypha, it's like works usually written of unknown authorship or of doubtful origins. Biblical Apocrypha, a set of texts including the Latin Vulgate and Septuagint, but not in the Hebrew Bible. You know, that sort of thing.
That kind of thing,
That sort of thing. That's just off the top of my head.
Yeah. Just off the top of your head. It's very structured for an off the top of the head.
That's just the way my mind works. I'm very professional.
Sounds like a WWE promo. Anyway, don't want to get political on WWE now. It was directed by Kim Manners, written by Frank Spotnitz and Chris Carter, and the original air date was February 16th, 1996. So we start in a Navy hospital.
Whoa. Your voice sounds a lot less echoey.
Well,
you tried to edit around it.
Don't give the game away.
I want to know that I'm the saviour of this podcast.
Well, we'll see how it sounds. It might sound fine. Be like, what are you talking about? There's no echo whatsoever. So we start in a Navy hospital, and it's not explicitly said at the beginning what time this is, but we find out that it is in 1953.
It's got a bit of an old vibe to it.
Yeah.
Though. You can sort of, with the filter that they use, you can sort of tell.
Yeah, exactly. So we see a man who's talking about not wanting to tell his story. And we find out that he was one of the men who was on the sub from the last episode flashback, and he's got burns over his body. We see 3 people in suits watching over this man, and they start asking him about Johansson, which is the guy who was telling the story last time. So we start seeing the flashback again. And we see basically up until the point where he locks the captain in the room. And at that point it ended for the rest of it.
And the soldiers weren't happy about it.
They weren't, no.
But hey, Crimey River, right?
Is this going to be your whole episode?
Oh, I love a bit of Bublé.
No, he was last. Oh, yeah.
Oh, you get the joke now. You get it.
I thought it was you were talking about the goo.
No, Crimey River.
Anyway.
Michael Bublé.
It is, yeah, it was Michael
A little bit of the Bublé.
It's not good. It's not good. Anyway. The captain, we see now at this point from the people inside the ship. The captain has the black oil eyes. And we see him sort of collapse to the floor. They hit him, don't they? Like, they knock him out. And black goo, this oil, just starts leaking out of his mouth while he's on the floor. And this goo just sort of goes into a drain, but it doesn't doesn't flow like water. It just
it's moving.
Yeah, it moves of its own like accord. We go back to the guy, and he's sort of explaining how the Navy tried to cover this up by saying that there was nuclear testing involved, and there was some nuclear material involved, and that's what caused all these radiation burns. But he's saying that that's not true at all.
Yeah, he was there. He would know
exactly. One of the guys in the suit tries to go and stop the recording, but the man says that he needs him to get the truth out, and he knows that he'll do it. And he mentions that his name is Mr. Mulder.
Yeah.
Young Mulder, right, in the flesh.
He's not a Mulder at this point.
No, he's
a mole man.
A mole man, yeah.
He's a mole man.
Small man. Yeah. Mole man.
Bill Mole Man.
Mole man sounds like a Simpson character. And then we also pan round and we see another familiar face.
Well, I don't think he's familiar.
Not at all. Until he lifts a cigarette to his mouth, sparks up.
What a great shot.
and then speaks in the same voice that he does now.
Yeah, you could tell that voice was.
It was definitely dubbed
onto it.
Do you know what the sad thing is? I bet the guy who was cast as young cigarette smoking boy,
cigarette smoking boy
was
CSB.
CSB. I get the feeling he was like, first talking role in a show, and then gets dubbed over. He got Darth Vader.
Genuinely, I think this is a brilliant shot.
Yeah.
I thought you already had the Mulder reveal, and I was like, oh wow. And then as it panned across, and they just the fact that they've set up this cigarette smoking man to exactly who it is. I mean, it's weird that no one else on the show smokes.
Yeah.
No one smokes, but
Scully smokes.
Scully smokes occasionally, but
they don't call her a cigarette smoking woman.
I'm not going to mistake Scully for him, no, am I? You know what I mean?
That's true.
But yeah, as soon as you saw that light up, I was like, oh, no way. Like, that was exciting. I really enjoyed that.
Do you know what?
I hope we see more. I'd like to see more of those flashbacks.
Yeah.
That would be a good...
I hope we do see a lot more of, because we now know that this, conspiracy's gone back over 50 years.
Yeah, because cigarette smoking man and the guy he was with exchanged looks when Mulder started inquiring a bit further.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd like to see how he got that role, how he got to be where he was. That'd be interesting to find out. I don't know whether we ever will.
Fingers crossed. You never know. You never know. We'll go through the intro, and then we come to Northeast Georgetown Medical Center in Washington, D.C. And Scully arrives at the hospital, and she's asking for Skinner. We meet two other agents there, Agents Fuller and Kalisa. I'm not sure how it's pronounced.
I'm not sure. I didn't take a note of the names. I didn't think they'd be important.
No, they don't really.
No,
they're sort of just there. I mean, I don't know if they become more important as the show goes on, but they didn't seem to have pivotal roles at this point.
Yeah.
Scully asks if all the evidence has been collected, and she is a bit frustrated for the fact that they've not really done everything that they can do. Scully then sees Skinner being wheeled out, basically, of the operating theatre, catches up with him, and he mentions to her that he's seen his attacker before. So this isn't a random assailant, it's somebody who's done this before.
Yeah, and at this point I still didn't know who he was.
No.
I still haven't clicked, but it becomes obvious within time.
I'll be honest, I didn't know either.
No. But as soon as they mentioned who it was, I knew exactly who it was. It was just... Again, it was so many episodes ago, I just didn't clock.
That's the thing, innit? Because we're watching it weekly, it does feel like a long time ago that this happened. So, we go back to... we go now to Mulder, who's arriving into Dulles International Airport. Or Dulles, I'm not sure. I'm going to have to remember all these pronunciations eventually. And we see Krycek and Mulder walking out of a car rental office. They get into the car. It's a weird buddy cop scene, I thought. And Mulder starts asking for the locker key, which is where this where this tape is held, basically. I did write the locker key number down, but I don't think that means anything. It was CI 517.
Okay.
Back at the hospital, Scully's reading Skinner's chart. The two agents walk in, and Scully mentions that Skinner's fine, but basically wants guards by Skinner's side at all times. To which the two agents seem a bit hesitant to actually put any guards on him.
Mm.
I wonder at this point, are they involved in the conspiracy side of it?
You never know, do you? Yeah. Because Skinner just feels like he's fighting everyone off right now. He's still one of my favourite characters, but I just, you know what I think the thing is with Skinner is he doesn't really have his own agenda.
No.
At least not to this point. He's just constantly trying to do the right thing, and I like that about him. There's a nobility there, you know what I mean?
I feel like he's, at this point now though, he's being dragged into their business.
Yeah, being asked to pick a side.
Yeah.
And he doesn't want to pick a side. He's certainly not on Mulder and Scully's side, not all the time.
Up until the point before he got shot for this cause, basically, I feel like he would have he would have done his job And he helped Mulder and Scully, but yeah, he didn't stick his neck out. I mean, he did in some ways, but he didn't.
When their life was on the line. But again, that's the right thing to do.
They're his agents. At the end of the day, he has to protect them. But yeah, I feel like now he's got personal stakes in it. If you get shot because of something, then you're gonna take that personally. So I feel like he's gonna be more on side now following this. They've made an enemy, if anything.
Without a doubt. What an enemy to have.
Yeah. We then see Mulder and Krycek driving, and another car.
Sorry to interrupt, but these two actors have great chemistry as well.
Yeah.
Like every bit of dialogue between these two is riveting. It's like it's edge of your seat stuff.
They're driving down a country road, and a car starts following them, and basically we get this action scene where it tries to shunt them off the road. It does, and knocks out Mulder. Yeah. Krycek gets taken out of the car by the attackers. They start asking for this digital tape, and as one of the guys is basically looking to kill Mulder by the looks of it, we see in the distance Krycek. We know what's happening. Basically, we see this flash, but we know that Krycek is using his. He's frying them, basically. Yeah,
basically,
he's a big microwave.
It's the bomb going off, isn't it? It's using his power.
So he does that to one. The other guy goes to investigate, and he also gets burnt as well.
Yeah. All while Mulder watches on.
Yeah, well, he's knocked out, isn't he, at this time? Does he see it?
He sees the light, yeah.
Oh, okay.
He mentions it later.
Oh, yeah. Back at the FBI headquarters, we have another returning guest star, Big Papa Pendrell.
We do. And there's a lot of there's quite a lot of people returning in this episode, and again, I like it. It glued the whole episode together.
He says that he has something for Scully.
I bet he does.
Yeah.
Oh, that's smutty. We don't need that. I apologise for that.
No, you don't.
No, I do. Pendle's lovely. He's so innocent.
He's the guy next door, isn't he?
He is. He's the guy next door. A red-headed angel.
He's got some saliva readings and some hair, which he's running against the database. Scully says that this might take a bit too long. Takes the readings and does her own investigation with this.
Do you think Pendrell and Scully could ever work as a couple? I know Pendrell wants it.
No. I feel like he's the...
She would chew him up and eat him alive. He couldn't keep up. I don't think he could keep up.
Do you know how when you're in high school, you see a guy who pines after a girl, and you just know it's never going to happen?
Yeah.
It's Pendrell.
I just don't think they're suitable. I feel like the banter that Mulder and Scully have.
Yeah.
I feel like he would take it to heart.
he's fragile.
I feel like he would she would just make a joke about how she keeps making jokes about Mulder's porn collection.
Yeah.
I reckon Scully would find something on his computer, make a joke about it, and he'd just cry about it for an evening.
He's saying he's a beta. Is that what it is?
What's a beta?
Oh, are you not into this?
I'm not in the know. Go on.
No. There's this whole daft internet thing these days of the guys are either an alpha or a beta. You're either.
Okay. I think you meant beta as in BAIT.
Oh no, BETA. Yeah. It's just macho bullshit on the internet, you know what I mean? But yeah.
I'm above all that. I'm on another level.
You're Omega. You're like God.
Oh, yeah.
If we're going to get Greek letters.
Who's the alpha and beta of this podcast?
We're the alpha and the omega, the end and the beginning of the X-Files.
Oh, okay. Who's the end and the beginning? We're
both. We're both. Continuous loop of X-Files. Goodness.
Put that on the bio.
5 stars, Guardian.
Why are you leaving this just up there? No. That's got to be out there. Continuous loop of X-Files goodness.
The Alpha and the Omega. Well, you don't get this anywhere else. You don't get this waffle anywhere else.
No. So I'd just like to take this moment to remind everyone to go to iTunes, leave us a nice 5-star review, and just put in the comments continuous loop of X-Files goodness, the Alpha and Omega.
The Alpha and Omega.
Podcast.
I am a beta cook. That's what you could have. But anyway, moving swiftly on.
Yeah.
We go to some unknown location, and cigarette smoking man arrives as a man is explaining. Some kind of doctor is explaining what's happened to these two guys on the road. He says he's never seen anything like this before, but cigarette smoking man says that he has. And quite callously, he tells them he needs to destroy the bodies.
Yeah.
To which...
You can tell the way... You can tell his whole... You can tell a lot about him, is what I'm trying to say, by the fact that there's a guy on here on death's door and he lights up a cigarette and just blows smoke into his face as he's talking.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh... There's that. Something else I did want to say is, as a smoker myself... Every time Cigarette Smoking Man's on the screen, I really want to smoke. Honestly, it really triggers me. I have to sort of go, oh, should I watch the episode or should I just go have a sneaky smoke?
Do you know what? Like that, they do a lot of this these days about trying to not make people on TV smoke because it encourages like smoking.
It does.
Being cool. I agree because there's nothing that makes me want to smoke more when I see somebody who's cool smoking. I'm like, yeah, that's cool, man.
One of my favourite shows is Boardwalk Empire. Try getting through an episode of that without sparking up. Yeah. Oh my god!
When I went to Australia, we did a stopover because obviously, as you go to Australia, you have to go somewhere first and then on to Australia.
Yeah, it was like Singapore or something like that.
Hong Kong, which is where we stayed, and I hands down have to say the coolest smokers in the world are Chinese people. They make smoking look like an art. It's amazing.
Wow. Okay.
I've never seen people look more cool.
Is it the way they hold it, or
I don't know? It's just something like they just make it look like an art.
Okay.
Like, it just looks like I was there. I was quite young at the time. And I was like, I want to be a smoker. This is the first time in my life I've ever thought this. So there you go. If you ever go to China, well, I guess Hong Kong's it is China technically, but. Let's not get into that.
There's some debate going on. I'm honestly, I'm not educated enough to tap in. I just know there's some things that are bad.
Yeah, I feel like it's... Yeah, I don't know enough about the geography, but yeah, basically it's part of China-ish, but not really. We'll leave it at that. As vague as possible.
Dangerous territory there.
That's vague. That's quite vague. It may be China, possibly, but we're not sure.
Okay.
Anyway, we'll leave it there. We'll leave it there. We know about the X-Files just about, so we'll leave it at that. The Alpha and the Omega of it. We go back to the hospital, and Mulder is waking up after his accident. He sees Scully, and they exchange a smile. To which he says, "I guess I'm not dead." He explains what happened and his trip to Hong Kong to pick up Krychek. The flash that he saw. Yeah, I did write that down. Scully also explains that Skinner got shot and all about that. And she also shows Mulder the PCR reports that she got back from the DNA profile, which basically match the same as the person who shot her sister.
What's a PCR report?
I have no idea. I'm guessing it's something to do with...
Was the saliva, was it?
It's either saliva or the hair follicles or something like that, because they had hair. So it's one of the two. Okay. I think it was saliva, because they said there was saliva on his jacket.
He spat on Spinner. Spat on Spinner. He spat on Skinner, didn't he, when he shot him?
Did he actually, spit?
Yeah.
That's dumb. Why did he do that?
I know, yeah. See, what a great assassin.
I like to leave my mark.
Yeah, leave a calling card. It's got your name on it.
Yeah. Oh, God. Luis, the killer. We then go to a New York City apartment or building, and we see the Syndicate. Again, I'm going to call them the Syndicate now because this is what Wikipedia is listing them as, so it saves us time.
Every time it comes on now, it's always the same guy that starts talking, and I always think, is this the Mafia? Every time I always think, is this the Mafia? Because he'll talk like a Mafia boss, doesn't he? I don't know, is he meant to be a Mafia boss?
I don't think so. No, I think they're like this shadowy organisation, aren't they?
Yeah, but they all come from different, I'm assuming they're not all in the FBI. I'm guessing they're all infiltrated different organisations.
Maybe one's like a banker, a Wall Street.
Yeah, maybe one's a crime syndicate boss.
Maybe. Who knows? We'll maybe find more about them as
Maybe.
we go on. Who knows? He explains about these radiation burns on the two agents that they sent. And he also explains that the French have got the information. So they believe that they have some kind of intel leak. Also to note, cigarette smoking man, who they note is their Washington accomplice, basically.
Yeah.
Somebody who's close to the FBI. He's not in attendance in this meeting. We cut back to the hospital, and Scully is in front of Skinner's room. Goes in, and basically we see now that Skinner's okay. He's not feeling great. He even says that he feels like his insides are basically gone through a blender.
He says.
Scully explains that about the shooter being the same as her sister, and she knows.
Well, that's unprofessional, Luke. You better turn your phone on silent right now. You think we're going to get a 5-star review that way?
I've already done it.
You think we're going to get a 5-star review?
Just knock us one off. Just give us a 4.
Apologise then. Apologise to our listeners.
4-star review. Heard a ding.
Yeah, we'll accept 4-star reviews for this episode. We're sorry, everybody. Unprofessional.
The 1 star that killed us. We never recovered from that. So yes, Scully explains about the shooter being the same as the one who shot her sister. And she knows now that they don't want this killer to be caught. That somebody's suppressing this information. Skinner says that the man who shot him was one of the men who attacked him on the stairwell and stole the tape. So it was one of Krychek's accomplices, basically.
So everyone's after Krychek.
He is the link. Skinner says to Scully, oh God, this is a tongue twister. As she's leaving, basically, he warns her not to act rash, and that she doesn't have to continue on this if she's too invested in the case. And
once again, we go back to, I genuinely think he cares.
Yeah, he does.
It's not about a job anymore. It's about, he knows the risks. He's literally received one of the risks himself. Just be careful, and you don't have to follow this through.
But she says she won't give up on this.
Because that's what they'd want.
Exactly, yeah. We see Scully writing up a report, and she basically says that they need to restart the search for Krychek, and she thinks he is the link to all of this.
This is an art form, I think. You know, the writing of the report and like the sort of wistful looks to the right. I think we should do a video of that. Of one of us writing a report about what we thought of the X-Files.
We need some YouTube content that's going to get views. That's one thing. So,
what are you on about? Our YouTube wasteland. It's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, we put a YouTube channel up there just in case. Yeah. If no one wants to use it, that's their right. I mean, to be fair, there's nothing new up there.
If you listen to the podcast on like a podcast viewer, you're not getting anything else there.
No.
You're going to see a picture of our logo.
Yeah.
I mean, you do that anyway. So
yeah.
Let's not highlight it. We go to the X-Files office, and Scully opens the door, and there's a diving suit inside, which Mulder explains he flew in. But Mulder thinks, typical Mulder theory, that this is some kind of alien medium that is allowing whatever this creature is to jump from host to host.
Spot on.
Scully laughs, and Mulder, quite rightly at this point, understands how mad this sounds.
Yeah.
Basically, this is the first time he's been quite self-referential. You know what I mean? Like, he understands that this is a bit mental, but fair enough. He's evolving.
Well, it's because he. When you think about it, he said, I think he does say to Scully that I believe it's some sort of alien life form that uses this to jump from host to host. And I also believe that Goatee followed me to Hong Kong and infected Krychek.
Yeah.
And it's just like, there's only so far you can go without it sounding like just way too many coincidences.
Just sounds a bit
but
mental, yeah.
That happened, so...
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
What can you say?
They need to ask us. We'll say, yeah, he's bang on. He's got it right. But he wants to find out what this thing is. And at this point, we cut to an ice skating rink.
Yeah.
This was a strange transition until you see who is skating.
Yeah. I love it. I love it.
This thing's great. Byers is skating a big long coat.
Yeah.
He passes
He's a
by.
good skater.
He is. He's doing pretty well. He skates past Langley.
Yeah. Going the wrong way.
Going the wrong way.
As usual.
Yeah. Looking around at everyone. They signal to Frohike.
All with like little nods.
Yeah. He skates through. Did you notice that he gives like this creepy look at two girls that go past him? I was like, oh, come on, Frohike.
Yeah.
You don't have to do this.
The thing that made me laugh about this scene was it seemed so elaborate. It felt like, I could be wrong, but it felt to me like they was playing at being spies.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't need to go through all this, I don't think.
That's what it looked like, yeah. It's like people who'd watched too many, like...
But they loved it. Like, even when they get back in the car, they're like, anytime you need us to do that again, let us know.
Yeah.
And it's like, they're just playing at being these spies. All Mulder needed was someone that wasn't him to pick it up, you know what I mean?
So yeah, as you mentioned, they go to this locker, pick up the envelope, and come back to the car that Mulder's basically sat in waiting. They give him this. Mulder jokes that he's gonna get them in on more jobs like this, and they start asking about breaking kneecaps. But unfortunately, the package is empty. Somebody's got here first, and I think we know at this point who this person is.
Yeah, Muldad.
Muldad. Muldead, he's more like.
No, it's obviously Krychek.
We then see Cigarette Smoking Man having a bit of downtime. This is the first time we've seen him just chilling, I guess. He's having a whiskey, isn't he? I think it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He seems like a whiskey drinker. He's watching some old war film. And as he goes to...
sorry to interrupt. I did wonder whether this had any significance, because they did seem to... I'm so sorry. I've just dribbled everywhere. I took a sip before I started talking, and I just started to dribble.
just drool.
I do apologise about that. They did seem to like just make a particular effort to show him watching this film. But I did look into it, and I couldn't find any significance.
There was nothing in the notes, and usually if it's not in the notes, it's probably not too much significance. But yeah, he's watching a war film, and as he goes to reach for his cigarette, a tape gets thrown onto his desk, and it's Krychek bringing the digital tape back. Cigarette Smoking Man says that he's been expecting him, and the gunman from earlier, this Luis, points his gun at Krychek, but Cigarette Smoking Man, I think, understands what's going on and tells him to stand down. Otherwise,
well, I think when he says "I've been expecting you," I don't think he's talking to Krychek.
No,
I think he's talking to whatever's in Krychek.
Yeah. At this point, you know that he's got some kind of dealing with it. Yeah. He says he has what he wants, and then we see this the black oil in Krychek's eyes. We then go to the well manicured man's office. Again, they keep giving him this name. It's not as catchy as Cigarette Smoking Man. It's not as obvious as well. Like you were saying at the beginning with the as soon as Cigarette Smoking Man sparked up, we knew who he was. I don't think you're going to get that with manicured man. He just gets out a nail file or something.
Hello.
Yeah, I don't think that'll happen. But anyway, Cigarette Smoking Man enters the office. They mention that he's been keeping them. He's late. He mentions that he's moved the salvaged UFO And they also note how he's done it on his own without consulting them. They also want to know how the French have been got involved. They ask why it wasn't moved to Nevada with the rest of the UFOs. So there's definitely more involved there. And they also start chastising him about the shooter, basically saying that this guy's e-fit is now in the news.
It's strange because I know we've said this before in previous episodes, but it's so strange to see cigarette smoking man as like the little boy in the room. Like he's definitely the inferior here, and it's like he's trying to keep up and trying to sort of cover his own arse. But
it feels like this council is sort of everyone's on an equal sort of level, but they all jockey for the top position.
Yeah,
you know.
I think there's an obvious top position now.
Yeah,
I think it's
Do you reckon?
Well manicured man.
I don't know. I don't think it is him. I think there's some of the other people there might be on the same level as him, but they all sort of fluctuate in basically what they're doing. They're all on their own.
It could be.
That's what I get the feeling of, but who knows how it actually. But maybe we'll find it again. We keep saying this. Maybe we'll find out about structure eventually. Cigarette smoking man says that it's not his problem. The shooter acted on his own. They say that he needs to get him out of the country because they can't cover this up. It's gone too deep at this point.
And he's trying to keep up above in his head instead of going under.
I'm desperately trying to think. What song's that now?
In Too Deep.
Why did you reference Sum 41?
Because you said In Too Deep, and then the song came instantly into my head. I'm sorry. Yeah, okay, listen. I know certain things should stay in my head, but I gotta let them out. I feel like it's just tension building up, and then I have to let it out. It has to be out there in the open. I'm not saying it's good content.
But it fills time. So that's the most important part.
Most unwanted podcast, it fills time.
The alpha and the omega, it fills some time. We're really all scattershot over this.
Yeah, we need to get a marketing department.
We need quality assurance. We go to the lone gunman's office, and Frohickey is analysing this. It's the letter that they picked up, isn't it? Basically, they're trying to pick up. Yeah, they're trying to pick up some information from him.
It's the package that the tape was in.
Yes, that's it. Yeah.
But what they can see is they can see that someone's used it to lean on to write a number.
Yes,
the indent of the pen on a different paper.
The lone gunmen go through various methods that the FBI's science department could help in the situation. They go through all of the technology that could be used to
very advanced technology.
I really enjoyed this scene, to be fair.
Yeah, it's good. It's always good when these guys are
there. He calls the number. We don't see him call this number, but we see the well-manicured man's office. A phone rings. Someone answers. The assistant answers it and basically says, "It's a private line. We can't help you." The well-manicured man answers, and it's Mulder.
Yeah.
So Mulder's,
this is an interesting scene. I didn't expect this.
So they have a conversation. He says that Krychek gave him the number, and he wants to know where Krychek is. To which the well-manicured man says that he actually wants to meet Mulder. He arranges a meeting in Central Park. So not the safest place for a meeting, I think.
No, I wouldn't say so. But it's quiet, so...
Yeah, I guess so. So this is set up, and then he also tells him to disconnect the number so no one could call him. back at the FBI headquarters, Fuller and Kalika, I'm going to butcher that name, sorry, every time, sorry, are basically doing a slideshow presentation. They have information on the gunman, who we find out is called Luis Cardinal. He's, I think he's from Nicaragua, oh God, I cannot say this. Nicaragua, is it?
I've got no idea. I didn't pay attention to that bit.
He's an ex-mercenary. He has no address or any other details. Can't find anything on him.
He's basically like a ghost.
Yeah, essentially. And they think he might have already left the country at this point, and they won't be able to find him. They say that they'll require nothing more than a sign from God, to which Scully leaves saying she's seen stranger things.
Yeah.
And Pendrell just admires their arm.
Yeah.
I think she has. The old sucker. In Central Park, Mulder's waiting, and we see Good Nails Man. I don't know.
Good nails, man.
How can we shorten well manicured, man?
Good nails, man. That's perfect.
Good Nails Man.
There's got to be a way. WMM, well manicured man. Wim.
Kussum and Mum. Wim.
Come on,
We've turned into the Sims. Wim.
I'm happy with Wim. Should we go with Wim?
Wim and Kussum.
I mean, I'm happy with cigarette smoking, man. I like that. Rolls off the tongue.
He says that Wim says that he knows Mulder wants to kill Krychek, and he says that if Mulder tells him everything he knows, he'll give up Krychek. Mulder asks what they found, and he says that they found a Foo Fighter. A UFO which was downed by the Americans in World War II.
Very upfront about it.
Yeah,
which I was surprised by.
Yeah, I was going to say no secrets. He's probably got 100 more secrets.
Yeah,
he's not saying, but he's already been caught on this one, so they might as well just give him what he, like he says, what he already knows. So they explain about this submarine, which was called, what was it called again? The Zeus?
Faber Zeus.
Faber Zeus. So he explains about the submarine that was sent to him. And he says that no one knows what killed the crew, to which Mulder says that he knows what did it, and if he'll tell them if they give up Krychek. And this is where he sort of Wum. I don't know if that's going to catch on.
No, it's not. But
let's stick with it. Wum asks why he didn't kill Krychek when he had the chance. Now knowing that he's basically been travelling with him. And this is where Mulder realises that they're all looking for Krychek at this point.
Yeah.
Nobody knows where he is. We go back to the FBI headquarters and Mulder calls into Scully. He asks her to check on Skinner. He's a bit worried that somebody might have got to him.
Yeah.
Which is good because Scully gets to the hospital and the guards have gone, and so has Skinner. He's been discharged apparently to move to another hospital. Scully catches up with the ambulance just in the nick of time. Skinner's okay. She says she'll wait in there with him, but the ambulance then stops on a road, and sort of the weight on the back end sort of makes it rock.
I didn't know what was going on. Like what was she checking with this bag?
I think because you could see the level of the water tilt a bit, so you could guess that somebody was climbing on it. I think that's what the implication was.
It makes sense.
The weight, because you heard like a creak, like the weight shifted.
Yeah, I didn't even think about it, but yeah, that makes sense.
As she goes to open the door, Luis is outside, and he tries to shoot Scully, but misses. He runs, and basically gets run over by a car as he's fleeing. Scully catches up with him, and she just screams at him.
This is a great scene. Again, I feel like I'm a broken record. What an actress! Oh God, great.
So she screams and basically just unleashes on him for everything that he's caused her. Basically, he begs for his life and says that if she lets him go, he'll give up Krychek. This is when the police arrive and arrest him, take him away. We see Mulder looking through the glove box of his rental car. He gets a call from Scully explaining what's just happened. And then he says that he's going to head to an abandoned missile silo in North Dakota. Did he say where he got this information from?
No. Well, I didn't really figure out where. I'm assuming that Scully found out.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, though.
I can't figure out where they picked up the information. I guess they needed to get to this location though, so maybe he got told by Wum. But he says that the salvaged UFO is there.
Yeah.
So we go to Black Crow in North Dakota. Mulder and Scully drive up. They sneak in and start explaining how all of these missile silos have been filled in with concrete after the disarmament treaty. To which Mulder pulls his gun out and says, "I didn't sign a disarmament treaty." They go inside, and after a bit of wandering around in the dark, we find that they're 8 stories down. It's quite deep. And they find that this silo, at least, hasn't been concreted up. They hear a noise in the distance, go chasing after it, and we see that there's a man with these chemical or radiation burns on his body.
Yeah, it's like the wall falling down.
Like they've been attacked. And at this point, a weapons team, like a SWAT team, turn up, start giving chase. Which I was surprised they didn't just start firing, because every time they seem to turn up, they always just start shooting.
Yeah, and it's the one little bit of unrealistic thing in this, because I thought the same about when the police came and when Scully had the gun trained on Louise.
Yeah,
and she reached into her pocket to show up the FBI badge without saying anything, and I just thought, you're asking just to get shot.
Oh yeah.
In that situation, you're reaching into your pocket to pull something out towards the officers. And then in this one, it's like, they have time to run around the corner. You just think they'd get blasted away.
I know. So the weapons team give them chase, but eventually they are cut off. This team have done their research.
Finally. Yeah. They've actually had an ounce of tactics.
Yeah. They're captured and led outside, where a cigarette smoking man meets them and basically said that there's nothing down there. Starts denying everything that they start accusing him of. And Mulder, as he's been put into the back of the this van, says that they can't bury the truth. Cigarette smoking man walks off on his own and heads into this silo, and we see a room that's numbered 1013. He sort of lights up another cigarette, turns and leaves, and we then see what's inside this room, and there's a triangle UFO, which we've seen before. On top of it is Krychek. Now, this effect was pretty intense.
Yeah, just a bit.
We see the oil basically being violently expelled from his face, like it's coming out of his mouth and his eyes.
Yeah.
Just a really grim scene of of what's happening.
And it's seeping into the ship.
Yeah, there's this like spiral pattern, and it sort of follows it down into the ship. Then just before we finish, we go back to the FBI headquarters. Skinner's recovered now. He comes in and says he wants to speak to Scully. And Mulder actually thanks him for standing up for them, and specifically for standing up for Scully. And he said he was just doing his job. He was trying to apprehend someone that he mistook for her sister's killer.
Yeah.
So that throws a bit of intrigue just right there. Yeah. We then see Scully at Melissa's grave, laying some flowers. A car pulls up, and it's Mulder, who's also got some flowers. She starts to repeat this quote that the man at the airbase, what's his name again now? Johansson. Basically said about the dead speaking to them, and that's what their consciences are. Yeah.
Mulder says he never thought about it that way, but I think he's just trying to comfort her at this point and just sort of, it's nice thoughts.
She says that she thought she'd feel closure, but after catching him, she doesn't feel any at all. Mulder says that he might have found justice. They basically found Louise dead in his cell. And it looked like a suicide, but I mean,
he practically says to her that they had to kill him and make it look like a suicide because they didn't want him pointing the fingers at them. Yeah,
exactly. And Mulder also thinks that they either have Krychek as well, or they will get to him eventually. And this is where we see the final scene, and we see inside this room, this 1013, Krychek trapped in this silo, banging on the door, screaming to be let out, but into a silo that's 8 stories
Yeah, it's
down.
kind of really scary.
Yeah.
Like he's just basically been buried alive.
Essentially, yeah. And that's where we end it on Craig Chick screaming in the
He's
dark.
got to get out, hasn't he?
Fingers crossed.
Imagine if we see him again and he's like with the aliens.
Or he's a skeleton.
Oh yeah, I mean that would be grim, wouldn't it?
What do you think of the episode?
I'm gonna group the last 2 episodes together. I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah, they're really good.
It's one of my favourite mythology episodes or mythology stories. I just really loved everything. I loved the fact that every time there was a new character brought in, I was like, oh, we've seen him. We're starting to get recurring characters now. We're starting to get some sort of timeline where Mulder and Scully have a bunch of contacts they can approach to get something done, and I really like that. So yeah, I loved it. I just loved the whole thing.
I really like this one as well. I'd be hard pressed. I don't know whether it will top the other mythology arc ones that I've put sort of top of my list at the moment, but they're contending. Yeah, it's becoming tough to sort of pick them out.
This season's becoming tough to sort of figure out favourites.
I was just thinking that, like, this is episode 16 of like 24, 25, something like that. I can understand why everyone was saying this was the best series, like
so far.
Yeah. I mean, we haven't seen the rest to come, but I think there's been one episode that collectively we didn't like. You know
what? We've got our top 5s that we do after the end of every season.
Yeah.
And I didn't think anything could beat my top 5. I was doubtful that anything in this season could beat it. I'm not saying it will, but you could definitely make a case for an entirely season 3 top 5.
Yeah.
You can make a case.
Yeah.
There's certain ones that I'm pretty sure won't get budged, but the fact that you can argue for it says a lot about this season because so many stellar episodes.
I wonder if at a point we're going to have to start doing a top 10.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But then I do hear there's a drop off.
Yeah, true.
In quality later on.
True. We'll have to see. If all of a sudden we get to the point where our top 5 doesn't change whatsoever from season to season, then maybe we'll expand.
We'll do top 5s and we can still do honourable mentions.
Yeah, we'll get to that. But anyway, I really enjoyed the episode as well. I don't really have anything else to say.
No,
I mean,
it was great.
Just a great episode all round.
Yeah. And I enjoyed it. I know it sounds, but I stopped taking notes because I was just into it, and I just, you know what I mean. I just really I'd have watched another episode.
Yeah.
But I was tired to it.
Luke's production notes.
The episode's title is a reference to biblical Apocrypha. Do you know what that is, Chex? Yeah.
I think I've heard of it.
We've covered it. Which series creator Chris Carter felt was appropriate to the episode's thematic concerns, hidden documents and truths not brought to light. Director Kim Manners had directed a number of standalone Monster of the Week episodes, but this was his first mythological-centered episode. I haven't noticed that, to be honest. I see the directors' names, but I
can't remember which exact episodes they've done now.
The only ones I can say that it's not even the directors though. I know Darren Morgan episodes, those written ones, but then he's only really
and you can
done
sort of feel Chris Carter's influence as well.
Yeah, but Darren Morgan's only done like 3 episodes, isn't he? Like written fully.
I think so.
And he was in one.
Yeah.
I always forget that he was Fluke Man. Manners explained that there is some individual creative contribution from the directors in standalone episodes, but that with mythology episodes, what you need to do as a director is to be sure that the performances are there and that the yarn is present in its cleanest and most interesting fashion.
Okay.
A bit of insight there. Nicholas Lear was fitted with a mask with tubes for the scene where the alien black oil leaves his body. Lear said filming the scene was horrible and that the scene ended up having to be filmed again a few days later. I've seen these effects before where they do like jets of stuff and they just strap like stuff to the side.
Yeah. They did it in the pilot episode. With the blood from the nose.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I guess to do a side profile.
Yeah.
The similar scene from the start of the episode with the submarine captain was accomplished with a dummy head. I guess that's easier. Just stuff the pipes inside. You can't do that with a living person. The depiction of the oil in this scene was originally filmed using a magnetic fluid pulled along with magnets, although the end result of this was deemed not to be menacing enough and looked a little bit comic. To fix this, the soundstage used to represent the submarine's interior was rebuilt so it could be rocked back and forth, with the movement being used to guide the flow of a different liquid. This effect was then enhanced digitally in post-production. That's a hell of a change.
I thought it was all just CGI.
Or like reverse in a shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. That seems like a lot of money to put into just to make it go. But anyway. The missile silo used for the episode's climactic scene was incomplete when the scene was finished, and as the crew did not have enough time or money left to complete the set, the crew built the incomplete silo on a soundstage around a completed spacecraft prop and were able to digitally extend the set with computer-generated interiors to give the impression of a much larger silo. There is that one bit where it sort of like films into the air. I thought maybe that is sort of been enhanced.
Well, yeah, I mean, possibly. But I think they put shots like that in there just to sort of really sort of show the scale of it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And it works because it makes you, especially when you see like little tiny people, you know what I mean? It just makes you feel they're in a situation a lot bigger than them.
Exterior shots of the silo buildings were also enhanced digitally with various buildings and machinery created with computer-generated imagery and composited into the exterior shots. And a last little bit of trivia. I took down some quotes because I like to just take quotes out and then if they fit, I'll put them in the editing.
Yeah.
Apparently, Langley's first name is Ringo.
Is it?
Apparently, yes. The other two Langerman don't have their first name listed, but yeah, Langley's
Ringo
Langley.
Nice. That's a mouthful.
I mean, I'm gonna guess he was named after the Beatle. You kind of have to be named after the Beatle, don't you?
Yeah.
Your name's Ringo.
Yeah, but was Ringo a nickname?
I don't know what his real name is. I don't think it's.
It's not his real name.
No, I think his real name's something.
I honestly don't know. I should know, being a Scouser, but like, I'm not sure.
But anyway, that's production notes for this week. Do you have any tweets?
Yeah, we could get some feedback.
Welcome to Dan's Twitter Corner.
So we've had quite a bit of feedback to get through. I'll just pick out some random ones as we go along. We had a lot of discussion about. Remember a couple of episodes ago when we saw Mulder putting what we thought was like a powder into
kind of syrup or
into a bottle of vodka.
Yeah.
Well, Kathy got in touch and told us that it was actually frozen orange concentrate, which I've never heard of myself. It's never been a thing in my life. But a lot of people were getting in touch. We had Teresa get in touch with us and say that she's seen people do that in a pinch. And we had another person got in touch, Court Lamb, and she said, what sort of place is committee anyway that he could get frozen concentrate and vodka, but not just a small bottle of orange juice.
That's a very good point.
And then lastly on that we had I think it's Gigi, but she said it's so amazing, a lot sweeter than if you use regular orange juice though. And then we had Linlo get in touch and say that her grandma used to do it and she didn't even realise it was uncommon until basically now. This is mad. This is like a big thing. I've never heard of this. No. But there's so many people that have got in touch and said, it sounds right up my street. I'll say this right now. Vodka orange, a screwdriver, is one of my favourite cocktails in the world. I love it. It's my go-to drink if I'm at a party.
Maybe for... we've got wedding drinks coming up soon. maybe we should try some vodka with orange concentrate.
I think we're going to have to do it.
Yeah.
We're going to have to do it, and we'll let people know how we find it. Yeah. But, I mean, judging from the response, there's a lot of people that say it's really good.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to have to give it a shot. Yeah. So, yeah, we've got that. Talking about Syzygy, Ray got in touch and said that she was laughing hard at Chex's worst episode comments. She said, I understand. I'm with Luke. It's upsetting when Mum and Dad were fighting, especially for no good reason. But what's intolerable were those two psychotic monsters. I can't stand those girls. Oh, I'm with you on that. Yeah. I am with you on that. Yeah, that episode wasn't for me. We had a few people get in touch and say it's a bit divisive. It's not the best episode. It's some people don't like it though. I can see both sides. Yeah. I think it's just personal preference at the end of the day.
It feels like one of those Marmite episodes you either... Well, then again, I don't know if anyone would say they loved it.
No, I don't think it's ever considered one of the best. Yeah. But
I think some people liked it more than others. Sorry, it's quite tiring. It's quite tiring.
I'll just go through one last tweet about last week's episode. Well, not last week, sorry, the episode 2 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. And Kathy got in touch saying she's so glad Chex came around a bit. This was grotesque. Mm-hmm. So glad Chex came around a bit after talking about the episode. I love the way it shows us why Mulder was such a good profile and why he had to get away from it. Mm-hmm. And Crystal also responded that she really liked this episode, but yeah, profiling would have eventually broken him. He needed to get away from that darkness. So all really good points, and especially, I mean, that last episode, it is strange how, and I found this a few times where I either really like an episode, I start to like an episode a lot more once I've talked it through. I think you can digest it, gives you time to sort of settle. I suppose it's the same reaction you would get from rewatching episodes and sort of seeing things you didn't see before. But we just get that talking it through with each other, and I actually really like that. That's one of the perks of doing this podcast.
Have you ever done that with like a film? Like the first time you watched it, you thought, I hated that, or like I really didn't like it, and then you've watched it again and you thought it's completely taken on a new form.
I'm sure I have. I can't think of any examples.
I can't think of one that's been like a drastic change. I remember like watching films that's got a big twist at the end, and then like the second watch is like a completely different film. Like watching Fight Club the second time is such a different experience than watching it the first time.
Yeah,
but
it's intended to be that way. Yeah. Like Inception's the same. Yeah, there's films like that. They're intended to be rewatchable, and you get a different experience. But yeah, it is I'm glad that like people pick up the fact that it is interesting going through it again, because you can see things, and sometimes you'll have a point of view that I never thought of, or vice versa, which can change the way an episode comes across. But yeah, thank you very much for the feedback, and keep sending it in. Let us know what you think of the episodes coming up, or the episodes that we've already discussed. You can get in touch with all the usual ways: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Twitter's probably the easiest. Just search Most Unwanted Podcast and you'll find us.
Also, we have an email address as well, that is also in the links below.
Yeah, just have a quick look, and just get in touch. Let us know what you're thinking. But yeah, I think that's the end of feedback for this week.
Yeah. Next week. Well, no, not next week.
Next week.
We covered this before. In 2 or 3 weeks' time, depending on when the edit is done.
Yeah.
I think it'd be 3 weeks probably. We come back with an episode entitled Pusher. Special mention, this is the first Vince Gilligan episode we're going to
cover. I'm interested to see that. That'll be a nice one to come back to, actually.
Yeah, so we'll be kicking off back with another strong episode, hopefully.
Yeah, and in the meantime, feel free to keep getting in touch and wish me luck, because I'm going to need it for my speech. You really left me hanging there. Oh my god.
It's kind of like what it's going to be like.
Yeah. Thanks for that.
See you next time, guys.
This could be a case for Mulder and Scully.
Spinner, Skinner, Scunner. My God.
Scone.
No, let's not call him a sconner.